Hey everyone, and welcome to the Mae Cave. My name is Megan, and today I'm going to bring you my 2019 bookish goals and buying rules for myself. I know, we'll get into it. So first I'll go over my bookish goals for next year, and I will do a separate video for how my bookish goals went for 2018, but I don't have a lot of goals for next year, so I'm just stuffing it into this video with my bookish buying rules for myself. So we'll start with the goals because it's smaller. I have them written down here. Actually, I don't think I have 4. I think I have 3, kind of. So my first goal is actually to get through my TBR pile on my bedside table, which is kind of like a winter goal, winter of 2018 to 2019, because that's my winter break and then I have to start school again. But it's also like if my TBR goes into 2019, I would like to finish that pile that is showcased in my most recent catching up video. That should be up by the time this video is up. Because I've been wanting to get to those books for a while now, and school has gotten in the way, and I want to get to those ones so I can start a new, fresh TBR pile and get to other ones. So that's like my first main goal that needs to be done first. And then I would like to read books by a shelf. Like I have a pattern that I want to try next year. So I'm always telling myself, you know what, I need to read a variety of books that I own. I need to read from all of my shelves. I need to pick series books that are on my top shelf. I want to pick books off my husband's shelf that I've been wanting to read, and off my nonfiction shelf, which I was doing okay with that for my goal. But so I came up with a way to make myself read one of each book off of each shelf. Like, let me start that sentence over. I came up with a way to make myself read a variety of my shelves, so to speak. So let me describe how I'm going to do this. I'm going to read 1 book per shelf for every 5 books that I read, because I'm going to go off of 5 shelves. So I have 3 shelves behind me, which include my series shelf at the top, my nonfiction shelf, and then my husband's shelf, which is actually 2 shelves, but I'm going to count as 1 because there aren't that many books over there. So say I picked a book off my nonfiction shelf. My next 4 books cannot be off that shelf. It then can go to, my second book can be from my husband's shelf, my 3rd book can be from this one, my 4th book that one, and my 5th book that one, and so on and so forth. So 5 books. That means I go through 1 round of each shelf, and then it starts over again. So like the cycle starts over, I guess. And that means that I could potentially start, like if I ended on the series shelf, I could then continue that series or something and pick from that shelf again for the next cycle of reading. So basically, if I picked a book off of this shelf, my next book cannot be off of this shelf until I've gone 1 book off of each other shelf, if that makes sense. I hope I've explained that well. Because then that forces me to start a series, or at least finish a series that's on that shelf. It forces me to pick up books off my husband's shelf I wanted to read, forces me to pick up books off the second shelf that I've been ignoring, and forces me to pick up books off my nonfiction shelf, because my 2018 nonfiction goal, which is leading to my 3rd goal here, was to read 1 nonfiction book per month. And I think there were only 2 months that I skipped on purpose, and then November, December, we'll see how that goes. But I decided not to do that next year, partly because school will be in session for most of the year, so I won't have time to read that many books for, like 1 each month plus other books. So, because then it would mainly just be me reading nonfiction for the whole year, and I don't want to do that to myself. But also, I went through my books, not including the one, actually, if you include the one I just hauled, which is about Queens of England, I think I have a total of 9 books that I have not read on my shelf that are not coffee table books I've already read, or books that I wouldn't read right away. Like I have books like I have a cookbook up there, which obviously I'm not going to just read cover to cover, stuff like that. So 9 regular chapter books that I would read, and that just doesn't add up to 12 months. So I'm not going to put myself through that goal. I'm just going to try and read nonfiction next year, maybe once every other month. So 6 books of nonfiction next year. We'll see how that goes. So I was going to do a nonfiction book, so it'll just be 6 nonfiction books is my 3rd goal. Which leads into my 4th goal, is to read at least 1 of my coffee table books. And I'm not completely in full, because it's a big hardcovers, bigger than my head, kind of bigger than half my body kind of books. I have a good handful of those that I haven't even touched, and I like to at least read some of the pages, some of the chapters in these books, maybe not finish one in whole. That would be a really great goal. If I could get there, that'd be great. But if not, at least reading some of it. I know I have one sitting on my bedside table. It's been there since I bought it. So I was like, oh, I'll start reading this one. I even stuck a towel over it so it wouldn't get dusty. It's been there that long. So, yeah, I would like to get through at least part of one of those books And then that's it. That's all my reading goals for next year, is basically just to read, hopefully, and just like get through some books, especially over the summer and over my breaks when I don't have school in session. So we'll see how it goes. Now we're going to go over my bookish buying rules for next year. This is something I'm doing for myself for two reasons. One, I'd like to save some money because I buy a lot of books and I'd like to not do that. I'm actually going to be using my library again for the first time in a long time because I'm going to do a buddy read with someone at the end of December. And I don't own the book, and I figured, you know what, instead of trying to buy it, because I couldn't find a used copy, I'm just going to get it through the library because the buddy read is only going to be a week long. I can have it at the library and then return it. If I really enjoy it, I can buy the book later. I really need to get into that habit, and I want to use my library. I just worked at a bookstore for a while, but now I don't. So these rules for myself are mainly to save money and to save space, because space. So I have 5 rules. Basically, I can only buy books if they meet one of these rules, or I can't buy books unless they meet one of these rules, one of these things. The first one is more for saving money versus saving space, and that is to buy a book as a gift for somebody other than myself. Or my husband, because same area, really. So like if my mom's birthday comes up and I found a book that I really want her to read, or I think she would love, or has been on her wish list, that will be okay because it's a gift. It's not for me, and it's okay to splurge a little on gifts. Rule number 2 is I can buy a book if I want to complete a series that is already on my shelf. Like, I know I have some up there where I only have the first or second, and if I read through those, then maybe I can buy the third one. Or I have a series in which I have like 1, 3, and 5, and I can buy, but that one's going to be tentative depending on if I get to the book to read it, I may do it. Or if it's one that I've been trying to find it in hardcover and I can't find it for a while, and then I finally found it. It's like, oh, I really want to get that to complete the series or whatever. It's like a special kind of series, not just like any series on my shelf. Because if I have, for instance, the James A. Corey, The Expanse series, I have the first 3 books. I'm not going to complete that series because those are really thick books, and it's like almost, I think they have 8 books almost now. I'm not going to buy all those books if I find them used. Not going to happen. But I think there may be a handful of series up there that I want to complete. I think there are some duologies where I wouldn't mind just owning both books. So that kind of thing. And that's not something I'm going to be actively looking for. So that's like a maybe if I find it, whatever kind of rule. Rule number 3 is if I want to support a new or indie author. So I know there's some books by Dan Cobain I want to buy. There are some Instagram authors that I follow whose books are coming out soon that I would like to buy or have come out, and I'm interested in their books and I'd like to buy them to support them, and I'm interested in the book. So that will be an exception because, hey, I want to support a new author. They look like I have a really good book. So that's not something I mind spending money or space on, because supporting new people versus if I bought George R.R. Martin, he probably wouldn't even notice. Anyway, just that in general. I have a lot of authors I follow on Instagram and YouTube, and I like to support them. And then rule number 4 is if I win a giveaway or I'm contacted for an ARC or advanced reader's copy, then I will take the book. I'm going to be picky with these, though, because I haven't been super picky with my giveaways and ARCs lately, and I'm going to try and do that because it does take up space on my shelf, even if I don't buy them. So I used to be like, oh, the books on my want to read, even if I'm not super into it right now, I'll enter the giveaway, and then if I win it, I'm like, oh, I kind of want to read it. That can also affect how I think about the book once I've read it. So when a giveaway does come to my attention, or someone offers a book as an ARC, like the book I'm currently reading, I will really think about it and be like, okay, is this one I really want to read now? If I were to get it right now or in the next month or so, would I read it now? Would I read it in the next few months? Is this something I would pick up right now? Or should I just say no? So that if I do win the giveaway, I know it's something I would pick it up anyway, because as a giveaway, I feel like I can't not read it. They gave it to me for free. I need to read it. I'm not just going to put it off. I can never do that. I've never put it off for more than a month or 2. But that means that I push away other books that I could be reading, so I'm just going to be picky with my giveaways. But if I do win one, I've entered it and I do win it or something like that, then I will obviously take the book. And that will be part of my exceptions. The last 5th rule on my list of book buying rules is kind of like an extraneous one. I have 2 books per month I'm allowed to buy that do not match the other rules. That's like, maybe it's a book I forgot that I wanted until I saw it again. Like, oh, I really, really, really wanted that. Or I didn't get the book on my Christmas wish list, and I added it to my birthday wish list and didn't get it there, and then I decided I want to buy it. It's just like an extraneous thing, like just to give me that opportunity to buy books as they come up if I want to. But I'm giving myself that 2 books per month thing, and it won't roll over to the next month, because I don't want to just let myself go, but I don't want to completely curb my spending because those rules are great, but I would like to just be able to pick up a book when I want to sometimes, and that might happen, especially if my husband decides to drive somewhere next summer. We go through a different town and he takes me to a bookstore. He likes to let me buy a book or two. I don't want to not do that if the books don't follow those first 4 rules. So, and that's not to say I'm gonna buy 2 books every month just because that rule is there. That's giving me the option to if I find a book that does not follow the rules. But say January comes and goes and I don't buy 2 books, it doesn't give me license to buy 4 books in February. It's still 2 books per month. So February comes and I still only have 2 books. I can't be like, oh, I didn't buy 2 in January, so now I can buy 4. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to be like, nope, 2 books per month. Doesn't matter what I did last month or whatever. So those are it. Those are my rules. And like I said, I'm mainly doing this for space and money saving reasons, and just in general, I don't need to buy a lot of books. I already own a lot of books. And even if I didn't own as many as I did now, I would still own a TBR pile. I would still have something that I'd be like, hey, I need to get through this first before I get anything else. So I'm trying to curb my spending, maybe use my library a little more. I didn't put a rule about that in there just because I could go at least 2 years without going to the library once and read all the books and still probably not have read all the books on my shelf. So those are all my rules. Thank you guys so much for listening. I have other videos coming out soon, I hope. I should be a little more participating in YouTube for the winter. Comment down below if you have any bookish goals or book buying rules for yourself for next year or anything related to that, or you can just say hello. But that's it for now, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.